One day it could be you facing terminal illness and putting your life in the hands of a loved one. Taking care of a terminally ill family member at home with the assistance of hospice care can be exhausting, but there are many ways to do it and be successful at it. Home care is much better for the ill person than the institutional setting. I was the primary caregiver of my mother for 18 months until she passed away on August the 20th of 2017. When being appointed her primary caregiver, I had to weigh the options between home care and an institutional setting for my mom. Home care was the right thing for my mother, and I feel that it's right for most terminally ill patients. The terminally ill is less likely to experience delirium. The patient will get better rest with home care than in an institutional setting, and the cost is less expensive home than paying for the nursing home fees. First, I want to talk about delirium. According to the Webster's Dictionary, delirium is defined as an actual acutely disturbed state of mind that occurs with fever, intoxication, and disorders characterized by restlessness and incoherence in thought and speech. Caregivers in a home setting is better. Caregivers in a home setting have better control over the delirium because delirium is usually in a terminally ill patient a response to pain, and many times we can keep, you know, uh, and many times we can understand when that person is in pain, and we'll be able to respond to it quickly. Once the caregiver is familiar with those delirium episodes, the caregiver will understand how to respond. In an institutional setting, you have many shift changes and different caregivers in and out, and you also have a high turnover a lot of times with CNAs in these institutions and our nursing homes. All may not interpret notes the same from previous shifts. Having a constant flow of the same people inside the home, it will decrease the number of delirium episodes. For the most part, delirium can also be a part of that person's rest at home compared to in an institutional setting. Another important factor in caring for a terminally ill patient is their rest patterns. Institutional settings can sometimes be noisy, high in foot traffic near their ill person, rather than, and a lot of times doctors, nurses, and nurse caregivers or whoever it is, they'll sit and they'll discuss things inside that patient's room when they're trying to rest. Whereas in the home setting, you can go to a different room and discuss, the things with that patient. As far as if someone is coming in to assist you, you can just tell them, how that person day has gone or how they've been responding throughout the day in a different room than in that person's room, and that won't disturb their rest. When you have a better rested patient or person or family member that's ill, you have less difficult times helping them with their daily activities. And the final thing is the cost effectiveness. The cost of taking care of a terminally ill patient in a nursing home facility can far exceed $2,000 a month. According to selfadvisor.com, that care can a lot of times exceed $7,600 per month. And the average household income for Americans range from $26,000 to $76,000 a month. And that really doesn't cover that type of care with that type of income. A lot of times when you go into these nursing homes, you have to surrender your private properties. You may even have to surrender your home. When you have an in-home care, you can better budget what you have, and you a lot of times You can get your budget around 2000, no more than 2000, a month. So you can budget your expenses better in home than being institutionalized. In conclusion, my personal experience with caring for the terminally ill patient, it was a journey. It made me realize to pre-plan my own final arrangements and how I would like to be cared for in my final days if I, got to the point of being terminally ill. My mother dealt with delirium and battles with rest. I was on the forefront of taking care of her and budgeting her finances and managing to keep all her properties at the same time. Being a caregiver of a terminally ill is patient is not a task everyone can handle. It's a commitment, it's an ultimate sacrifice of yourself. And if you're ever faced with the decision of taking care of someone, make sure you're physically, mentally, and emotionally well. Every part of your being will be challenged when taking care of a person that's terminally ill. You, many times I cried and asked, why me? And hey, why not me? I have covered how I handled, delirium, budgeting home care, and the rest of the terminally ill patient. There is no better way to end life than in your own home, surrounded by the ones that you love, in a home and family that you've grown to cherish. There's no better way to leave peacefully and drift away in your own personal space that you took the blood, sweat, and tears to build. Would you rather be in home in this situation?